Hey guys, I think we are, trying to make this happen for you guys, but we're also, on vacations ourselves. So, I'm currently at the beach. That's my situation. I don't know. I think we wanted to wish you well and let you know that we'll be posting something Wednesday. But I think right now, this is what we need to do for us. And I think that's what we're realizing. But I think I will share with you real quick something that kind of really opened up for me and maybe can give you some inspiration into what we're probably going to talk about Wednesday, which is kind of going off more like working on your fears and things like that stop you from going and enjoying things. But I had my last day Friday, and a lot of it I was just trying to make it through, and it was really hard, and I was getting so frustrated, trying to wrap up everything that I needed to feel comfortable leaving. And I think what ended up happening is that I somehow figured out how to get in my car after I got done with my work at the end of the day, and I just kind of sat there, and somehow instead of getting really frustrated and continuing to be irritated about how my day went, I somehow was able to cope with my emotions and just was letting it go, and somehow was able to get into a better mood driving home, and got everything packed and ready for our trip, and it all worked out, and that's what we always kind of forget, is that we get in our emotions, it's not going the way we want, and then we're getting upset because it's not working out how we're supposed to want it to be, or how we want it to be, not how it's supposed to be. And so I kind of just was continuing to lean into the flow, go with the flow, trust the process. That's what I've been trying to do in my life right now. And I think because I was able to do that, it really helped me open the way for a better trip. It was a rough start, it was raining all the way down here and getting packed up, but today was just such an amazing time. And I think we were supposed to have taken our dogs, and it kind of worked out for someone to watch the dogs. And I think why that happened was because, again, I leaned into what the universe wanted me to. She's willing to help me out if I help myself out. So I was able to kind of get to a place where I needed to be emotionally, and then as a reward she let me just kind of have a trip without as much responsibility as I thought, besides Moana's my major responsibility, but besides that I could have had two small dogs to kind of do too, and that on the beach and in the springs is not really a lot of fun. So I think what I was able to do was kind of get in line with where I'm supposed to be. And again, as I'll continue to tell you, if you can be in line with what you're supposed to be doing in the world, then that's going to be so much easier for you to kind of lean into, and for the universe to be able to help make it easier for you. Because if we can listen to the signs that the universe is giving us of things that we're supposed to be doing in our life, those are those hints that we get when we're, I don't know, playing a board game or something. If you follow the hints, it's a lot easier to make it to the end. If you're not following the hints, then you're kind of just going around blind and hoping that you figure it out. And but by listening to your intuition, by listening to the things around you, and you kind of being able to be validated in that, oh, I saw this pattern 3 times, or something like that, you keep seeing the same message over and over again, I mean, that's probably a fucking sign that you're supposed to be going down that route. But if it's not something we're ready for, we're not something we want to do, or it's not in line with what we think should happen, sometimes we're resistant to that. But if you can kind of maybe try to make meaning out of it and understand why that's happening and why you're meant to go that way, maybe your reward is better than the reward you have predicted or wanted for yourself. A big example of that was, getting before my job, I applied at a different job that I thought had all these benefits and had all these really cool things that I thought was going to be a really awesome job for me, and it didn't work out, and I was so upset, and I couldn't understand. And I thought oh, it's just me, I'm not qualified enough, or I'm not whatever enough. But really what it was is that I was meant to go down a couple more routes to find the job that I had. And at that time, that was probably the best job that I've ever had, benefits wise and whatnot, you know? And so starting to see all those signs laid out, I am more confident when I see signs in the future. And that's kind of where we're at. What we've been talking about with, you know, us leaving our job is that we somehow were able to really kind of see the patterns in our life, feel our emotions, what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and somehow be able to say, well, if it doesn't feel right and that's not making me happy, then maybe I should choose something else. So, you know, that's where we kind of went down that trail. And I can't tell you how much it connected, and things fell into place after I did that. And I am convinced it's because I was kind of meant to go on this journey. I pulled my tarot cards, and it was just telling me that, like, you know, this trip was for me to connect with my family, for me to reestablish where we're at, you know, since we haven't been able to be together for a minute. And, you know, being able to kind of understand that, and somehow also trying to let myself be free. Like it was saying, like, I need to make sure that I am, you know, attending to myself and my needs and what I should be doing with my life. And, you know, so far, like, that's today. I'm just, you know, if something's pissing me off or it's making me irritated, as there are things every single damn day, it seems like, but really those are the things that are just like that. Like, I need to learn to accept those moments, like Moana having her breakdowns when we're trying to get to the beach or something, you know, and her not wanting to get in the water because she's not, you know, up on the salt water, but I really want to get in the water. You know, it's just like you learn to live in that moment. And when you can accept that moment for what it is, while also following the journey in the direction you're supposed to go, then somehow, you know, your life, it gets more enjoyable. So even though we're not doing a full video today, I just kind of wanted to let you know where I was at, and, you know, kind of touching on the rewards that the universe will give you if you can be present in the moment. You pay attention to your journey. You, of course, you know, people say be in the moment. Well, yeah, of course that means be in the moment, but I mean, that's also meaning, like, don't, like, just not plan out your life. So if you can plan out your life and, you know, pick a direction, and you may change it 5-10 times, especially when your intuition gets you in a situation. You're like, I thought I wanted to go left, but my intuition's saying right. So I'm going to take this leap of faith and go right because something is leading me down this path that, whether it's explainable or not of what you're feeling, it's still very clear. We know how we feel. We know how our gut feels, or at least you can if you can get into it, intuitive with it. But, I think that's really scary for some people. And for me, a big one was releasing the control that I had over my life. You know, we as humans just want to find control over anything because that creates less anxiety for us. But when we try to control a situation that's not meant for us, you know, and we all have those moments, whether it's a person we've tried to date and, you know, we didn't get the picture that they didn't want to be with us and we just kept trying, or trying to make a career path work, or trying to make a hobby work that we don't like. You know, there are things that we will just immediately click to. And why can't we trust that? Why do we continue to force things that don't feel good to us? Our job, whatever. You know, I think there's obviously some situations where those things are unavoidable, like, you know, your children or whatever. And then that's when you just learn to kind of go with the flow. Like, we aren't taught to do that. We're taught to want to manipulate the system, and manipulation has a bad connotation, but, like, we want to manipulate everything so that it goes our way. But really, we don't have enough knowledge in this universe to say what is the best way for us. If we say that our higher power, you know, mine is the universe, whatever yours is, if we're saying that they know what's best for us because they have all of the knowledge in the universe, because we have, like, this much out of, like, you know, this broad amount of information, then I have to trust that I don't have enough information out of everything that's possible out there for me to choose. So that's basically what, you know, I think, you know, when Kiki and I spoke about what we wanted to talk about, it was like letting go of our fears, harnessing what direction we're supposed to go in, and just kind of, you know, letting go of the fears and kind of being unapologetically you along that journey. And that, to me, is what leads you to your happiest life. But it also creates a lot of challenges on the way, because there's a lot of things that you have to work through to get there. So And that's what we're here for. You know, I think we keep kind of hinting around that's what we're here for, but you know, I think a lot of it has to be you guys starting to tell us what you need to be able to go on that journey, because right now we're kind of focusing where we're at, you know, and you guys aren't where we're at in many situations in life. So continuing to comment or leaving any post about topics that you'd like us to talk about. If not, then you are totally out of control of this journey, and we will be deciding those things. So, you know, so take control of your life and tell us what information you want. Or if taking control of your life is following us on our journey and seeing where we're going, then keep doing that. Whatever is right for you, you know, you're going to feel that in your gut. But I also want to continue to push us all to do some uncomfortable things. And just because uncomfortable is there, it does not mean that it's bad. So, you know, me continuing to work and grow on myself is uncomfortable, but that is not bad. So you pushing yourself to do something this week that is going to create some anxiety, but you know is a way to stop and get through that anxiety, I am challenging you guys to do that, since we don't have a video to really talk about. And then, you know, if anybody's willing to share their experience or actually want to do that homework that I've given you, and I will do the same, and Christian and I can check in on Wednesday maybe about what's one thing that we pushed ourselves to do this week that was really uncomfortable but felt right, and we needed to take that step for a really long time. You know, and let's just see how we get rewarded. You know, I took the big step. I finally ended my job. Like I said, my last day was Friday, and I was immediately rewarded with some responsibility taken off my plate so that I could fully embrace this whole weekend, or longer than a weekend. I'm here for almost 10 days. So, you know, the longest vacation I've had in a while, and I've always learned to grow as I travel. That's what's, you know, puts me in these kind of hard, difficult situations, like trying to put up the tent when it's raining and in the dark and my battery dies, and this guy, I have to go get him to jump off my battery, you know. And that could have led us into a bad start for this week, but luckily, you know, Anthony and I are like really good at kind of, you know, when we get frustrated, we're learning to communicate with each other. We're learning how to help each other out and reduce that in ourselves, you know. And does it have to be this hard? Is this our resistance to what's happening? Is that what's making it hard? Like, what are we stressing out about? Like, you know, we've got it figured out, you know. So, you know, like I said, try doing something, you know, that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, and see how you're going to grow and how you're going to be rewarded in that. And, you know, that's part of the beginning of this journey. And unfortunately, some of the hardest steps you could take is trying to take that first step, and like trying to convince yourself you have the courage and the bravery to do what you need to do to step in that uncomfortable spot and willingly start growing. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing together. So, you know, Christian and I will do one new thing. I'm sure being on this trip, I'm going to do multiple things, but I'm also like in this space of growth where I've continued to be really open to growth and try to cut down on my defensiveness. So this video turned out to be a little bit longer than I thought, but it's okay, because I felt really bad about not posting for you guys. But you know what? I realized that you know, when we're doing a lot of stuff, and Christian and I are both trying to coordinate, sometimes it doesn't work out. But, you know, I set the expectation for us to put something every Wednesday and Sunday. And so this is me holding up to my bargain, my end of the deal, my, you know, the routine that I'm trying to get us in. And, you know what? I'm probably not even going to edit anything out of this video, because that's where I'm at with time-wise and trying to have time for me and, you know, this vacation, you know, and kind of continuing to grow and document that and actually just do the growing, because I'm so not used to videotaping and kind of being okay with, you know, fitting that into my day, I think is what I'm struggling with. So I'll be open about that, you know. But I am telling you that I am gaining some really good topics on this journey. So I will continue to share those as those realizations come through, and kind of sharing what I did to ease into those. Because sometimes they come naturally now and I don't think about it, but the beach is a big one for me. So anytime I'm near the water, or in the sun or outside or in nature that's super beautiful. And I can kind of show you guys where I'm at, you know, before I head out. But there's like this really cool right beside me. Like this is lovely. This is my element. And so, you know, being in your element is going to be probably one of the best ways to ease into that uncomfortable spot. So if you are obviously something happened and we got cut off, but what I was talking about was coping skills. And so when I am going through something new and it's uncomfortable, like we were talking about, I obviously need a lot of coping skills. And so I was saying that one of mine is just like being in the presence of like nature, water, the ocean, anything like that. That's really comforting to me and helps me kind of like feel more at peace while I'm dealing with something. So I'm not saying you have to take a vacation, but go sit outside, you know, go do something that brings you joy. And we'll talk about more coping skills, like obviously on a different episode, but you already know what you do that brings you joy. So when you're going through something hard, lean into your support people, your community, and don't forget to use your coping skills. So that is all for us for free therapy. Thank you.